Now, it's not often that you'll see pictures from Europe like the one behind me over there. The crackdown by Spanish police on voters in Catalonia's independence referendum shocked the world and rattled financial markets as well. We'll look at how investors reacted in a moment, but we'll begin with this report by Francis Collings in Barcelona.
There's a celebratory air in Barcelona today, a day after the vote that Spain deemed illegal, but also a referendum that saw a lot of violence towards the people of Catalonia from the Spanish police. This is what's going on at the moment in the Plaza de Catalunya. This is the main square in the center of Barcelona, just at the top of the Ramblers. As you can see, primarily it is a young crowd who have come out here with their flags and their placards, asking people to vote. And there's definitely an air that something has changed, that there is more of a solidity behind the movement towards Catalan independence. A lot of people have been telling us they were not so much angry, but shocked and stunned as to what happened with the Spanish police yesterday. They believe that independence for this province of Spain is not only their right, it's something that is going to happen in the future. And it may well be that the reaction of the Spanish government, the reaction of the Spanish police on Sunday, was a marker that turned things very much against them and in favour of those who want independence for Catalonia. Marches like this one, gatherings like this one, these are going to become the norm over the next few months, not only in Barcelona, but also in other towns and cities around the Catalonian province of Spain.
So that's the situation in Catalonia. Now, remember, the region contributes around 19% of Spain's gross domestic product. So it's not too surprising that the clashes have also put a dent in financial markets. Investors are bracing themselves for more economic uncertainty if the Catalan government declares independence following Sunday's vote. Now, Spain's benchmark stock index fell more than 1% in early trade, but recovered some ground later in the day. But investors sold Spanish debt quite aggressively. The yield on Spain's benchmark 10-year government bonds jumped to more than 1.67%. That is its highest level since July the 13th. Higher bond yields, of course, reflect falling prices. And the euro lost more than 0.5% against the US dollar in early European trade, but it too recovered some of its losses. Jameel Ahmad joins me now from Limassol. He is the Vice President of Market Research at ForexTime. Jameel, great to have you on Money Talks once again. Let's talk about what's been happening on the markets. How are investors positioning themselves in the event that the Catalan government declares independence? Do you think that there's been a little bit too little of a protective flight to safety in this instance?
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. You could say that investors actually discounted any risk heading into this referendum because it was something that the Spanish government never saw as legitimate, and they still do not see this as a legitimate vote. So we actually saw very little risk premium price into the stock markets and the euro heading into the weekend. But as we've opened trading for this week and following the controversial scenes of last night, we have seen some selling pressure on the euro. More specifically, we've seen pressure on the Spanish stock index, which shows that investors are looking at this as a domestic problem for Spain because the euro losses have not actually been that aggressive. The euro only declined about 0.5% at most, whereas actually most people are thinking that the euro losses could be due to the dollar strength. For example, the pound has lost 1% against the dollar today.
But Jameel, do you think that investors may have underestimated the risks for a wider contagion? Let's say, for example, if they declare independence, and wouldn't that then raise the risk premium on the peripheral debt especially, and could that then have a knock-on effect on places like Greece, for example?
Now, this is the question that many people are wondering now. Investors basically did not price in any premium heading into this event. And we've seen this with referendums and elections in the past. Only 1 week ago, you could argue that nobody had priced in much of a risk premium heading into the German elections. And obviously, this time last year, a little bit later, we saw that no risk premium had been entered before the EU referendum. I think one of the reasons why investors didn't price in any risk was due to this vote, the referendum that's taken place in Catalonia, not being seen as official, all legitimate by the Spanish government. But now that we've seen these scenes and Catalonia is promising to declare some sort of independence within the next 48 hours, nobody really knows how Europe is going to react to the European Union. Now, will this cause some sort of knock-on effect on other cities within Europe? This is what we need to look out for now, and this is where there might be more risk for the financial markets as a whole.
Jameel Ahmad from ForexTime in Limassol, thank you ever so much.